What's up guys, it's Findon. This is a smartphone. We all use these things every day to get stuff done on, or not. We mostly use them to scroll social media and get severely distracted. These things have become so advanced and have come so far from their pretty basic roots, but we're not going to be looking at what came at the start and the end. We're going to be looking at what's in the middle. Specifically, smartphones in 2015. Why 2015? Because that just so happens to be what I have, so yeah. I mostly want to see what the smartphone landscape was kind of like in 2015 and how some of these phones hold up today, so let's just take a look at them. Representing iOS, we have the iPhone 6s. Representing Android, we have the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Whoa mate, so edgy. And representing Windows, we have the Microsoft Lumia 950 XL. You guys may be wondering, why didn't you do the regular 950? And that's because this thing is still running Windows 11 and wouldn't really be a fair comparison. Check out that video if you haven't seen it already. And yes, after I'm done with this video, I am going to do the same thing with this one, so get subscribed to see that one. All of these smartphones were released in 2015 and all for around the same price, about 1,000 Australian dollars. Yes, things cost a lot more here. Now let's go over these phones individually, mostly the condition they're in. As you can see, this Galaxy S6 is in this beautiful green color, but some of the coloring's starting to disappear here. And if we flip it over, the screen's cracked, man. Alright, what about the iPhone? Oh, the bottom of the screen just straight up doesn't work. This part works though, but yeah. And what about the Lumia 950 XL? Well, it has like just one crack down here, and that's about it. The eBay seller said this was a scratch. They were wrong. Let's talk about the build quality of these phones. First up, we have the Lumia 950, and this is entirely made out of plastic. Yep, this back panel here is pretty much just made of plastic. The screen's glass, obviously. The one advantage this has is that you can just rip off the back cover, get access to the battery, the micro SD card, and the dual SIM card slots. Yes, this thing is a dual SIM phone. Here it has a 3300 mAh battery, very cool, very nice. And this thing here is actually a wireless charging coil. It attaches with these two pins here, and yeah, you can wirelessly charge this phone. Very nifty. The iPhone here fares a lot better in build quality. It has an aluminium back with a glass front. It's built pretty well. These ones don't bend as much as the iPhone 6 does, but they are still a little bit fragile, so yeah. No SD card slot, no removable back. Like, come on, it's an iPhone. But it does have a headphone jack. This was their last one. And finally, the Galaxy S6, which this was the year Samsung finally caught up and even surpassed Apple. This is actually pretty ahead of its time. So it's glass on the front and glass on the back, sandwiched between this metal railing. It's actually really well made. The S6 was such a step up in quality compared to the Galaxy S5. The S5 was a lot more like the 950 XL. It's just made out of plastic and feels like crap. Well, it doesn't feel like crap, but it definitely feels very cheap. This back material is quite literally melting and turning back into oil. It's so sticky and disgusting, I hate it. But at least you can take it off, and yeah, it's all plastic. There's your battery, micro SD card and SIM card thing. It's all here. And do you see all this? This like rubber around here? This allows the phone to be water resistant even with a removable back. It is possible. Just manufacturers don't want you to believe that. Sound like one of those tinfoil hat guys right now. So yeah, micro SD card, removable battery, water resistance. The Galaxy S6 got rid of all of those. So they sealed the back glass on, which ideally would make this thing more water resistant, but they took away the water resistance. This thing is less water resistant than the Galaxy S5, which was a very strange move, but they also removed the micro SD card slot. Yeah, that's right. Samsung actually removed the SD card slot all the way back in 2015, only to bring it back on the Galaxy S7. This was such a dumb move and kind of made the Galaxy S6 a little bit of a misstep, to be honest. But the Galaxy S7 released and kind of fixed everything and was a really good phone, but you know, we all still long for the days where we can just pull apart our phones whenever we want, but yeah, maybe that will come back. The EU might be cooking up some stuff. But what you do get instead is a much better build quality than these days of Samsung. And what better way for Samsung to flex their new build quality and design language than the curved edges of the screen. This was kind of a big deal back then. Nobody had ever seen anything like this. Look at that. The apps are like flowing off the edge of the screen. What? I can look at it sideways and watch it do this. And this is pretty much where the novelty ends, because besides this like edge panel features thing, which we'll get into later, I'm just gonna be real with you, I hate curved edges on phones. What better way to describe why than with this thing? This here is my old Galaxy S8, and oh, would you look at that? It's cracked on the curve? Yeah, it's cracked on the curve. Why? Because I dropped it like 5 centimeters and it hit the curve and it cracked. It just makes the phone more expensive, it makes screen protectors hard to put on, and honestly it really doesn't add anything besides just looking cool, which, to be honest, I kind of prefer the way flat screens look. Flat screen, uniform bezel, mwah, perfect. This was cool at the time, but it's a very outdated kind of design thing that we don't really see anymore. But hey, it definitely helped Samsung stand out at this time, because quite frankly, if they were still building phones like this, they would have looked like they were from the Stone Age. Let's talk about software. Let's open this phone up here. I'm not sure if this is Grace UX or not, because this seems to be Samsung Experience, like the later versions, but it has all the older icons. Or maybe I'm just dumb and this is like Android 7 or something, who knows. Oh yeah, remember what I was saying about the curved screen? Yeah, this one suffered the exact same fate. On the curve. On the curve. Oh, screen replacement prices are so bad, because the screen's curved. And there you have it. This thing is running Android 7, and I think that's about as high as it can go. Android 7 was released in 2016, I think. Wow, Android 7 was released in 2016. This phone came out in 2015. Like, that's it. That's all this thing's getting. That's absolutely ridiculous, Samsung. Look, I have to fact check this, hold on. Galaxy S6 latest OS. I just looked this up. Apparently the Galaxy S6 launched with Android 5 in 2015. Android 5 was already a year old at that time. That released in 2014. So this thing released with a year-old OS, got 2 software updates, and so it would have gotten Android 7 in 2017, but that was already a year old. Honestly, this kind of sucked, not gonna lie. Samsung's software support at this time was absolutely just garbage. 2 years of software support for a phone is absolutely pathetic. And I know what you guys may be saying, you can just load some custom ROMs on here. Honestly, I've tried to do some custom ROM stuff and it just sucks. I hate trying to flash an OS onto things because you can just brick it and it's so clunky. Ugh. An average user is just not going to be flashing their phones with a newer OS on it that's not even supported. So that's why it's really important to have actual proper software support out of the gate, or else you're just gonna run into a bad user experience. But you know what, at least this thing got updates and has a future, because quite frankly the Windows Phone, well, same can't be said for this thing. Let's have a look at the settings app. And this thing is running Windows 10 Mobile version 1703, so that'd be a version from 2017. But I think the worst part is that the entire OS is just straight up dead. Windows Phone is dead. This is technically faring way worse than the Galaxy S6 does. You can put Android on these things, you can also put Windows on these things, so that's kind of a bonus, I guess. But yeah, software support, kind of bad on these. But you know which phone doesn't have bad software support? The iPhone 6s. This thing actually has amazing software support. So this thing launched in 2015 with iOS 9. This thing is running iOS 15, which released in 2021. This phone got 6 years of software updates, which is actually kind of incredible, not gonna lie. Say what you want about Apple, but at least they actually supported and updated this thing. But unfortunately, because it is an iPhone, that is the end of the line for this. It can't go any higher than iOS 15. You can't really flash a newer OS onto this like these two can, but if you're just someone who uses the phone as a phone and doesn't really tinker around with this stuff, then quite frankly, this is the best in terms of like software support. And honestly, iOS 15 runs absolutely fantastic on this thing. It's smooth as all hell. and you can still download quite a few apps and run them. Maybe not the best of the best, it doesn't have all the features, but it has enough of them where it's still a really good experience. You can still very easily use this today. Let's test out the cameras. So here we have the iPhone. To open the camera, we swipe that way. I've already tested the back cameras and you'll see them in a bit, but we're going to test the front cameras. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Oh, right, the bottom of the screen doesn't work. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, one of the features of the iPhone 6s is that you can 3D touch. That's when it was introduced, but they kind of replaced it in newer iOS versions with haptic touch, but it's just kind of a tap to hold for this. So yeah, that is the photo. It looks pretty good. The screen's stuffed, man. You guys will see it on the screen. Next up, we have the Galaxy S6. And we swipe... What? Okay, right. It's that one, right. Alright, 3, 2, 1. The Galaxy S6 might have better photos, but honestly, I think I'll just put the photos on screen. I'll let you guys be the judge. And last but not least, the Windows Phone. Alright, 3, 2, 1. And it looks alright. It looks probably the worst out of all of them, but I mean, it is going against a massive light, but hey, it's a test, so we can kind of make it a bit crappy. I also took some photos in my backyard and I'll put them on the screen now for you guys all to see. So yeah, there they are. Very cool, very epic. Let's take a little look at the OSs. So here we have iOS 15 here. It comes with quite a few things. Some of the apps being a bit useless. I've actually already removed some of the worst offenders like Apple TV and stuff like that because who cares? There'll be that one commenter I like Apple TV. Honestly, I think kind of the 3D touch experience of this phone has kind of been ruined a little bit, considering that you can just use haptic touch, which basically is a fancy phrase for just hold the icon. Okay, honestly, whoever did the screen replacement, for one, stuffed it up because I can't touch the bottom, and second of all, I don't even think 3D touch works on this. You can see me, I'm shoving my thumb as hard as I can into the app and it's just not working, so... Ah! But yeah, 3D touch is kind of cool. If you double tap this thing, the fingerprint scanner, it goes down and it's more reachable. So that's cool, I guess. You can't multitask, like you can't do split screen. Speaking of which, the Smaznug. This thing's running Samsung Experience 7 whatever, yeah. Samsung, of course, loves to fill their phones with a lot of crap, like Flipboard, which I've never used in my life. Of course, they have their duplicate apps. They have the Google apps here, but then they have the Samsung apps, and then they also have the Microsoft apps. It's an absolute mess in the Samsung ecosystem. If we open up here, oh, I should probably talk about that. Peel Smart Remote. Yes, this thing has an IR blaster, so you can use this as a TV remote. But be warned, Peel Smart Remote is absolutely crap. I hate this app. I hate everything about this app. Why? Because it puts ads on your lock screen. It's just the worst app I've ever used, and the fact that it's been bundled in and it's, you know what, let's open this thing up. Let's see. Maybe it has been updated. Oh yeah, speaking of which, home button navigation, multitasking, fingerprint scanner, home button and back button. And on this, it's the same but in software. You can add remotes and stuff. I don't really have anything I can control with a remote in here, so maybe I'll show it later, but yeah. Hey, if you want to control TVs with your phone, you can get a Galaxy S6. I'm not sure if this was removed in the Galaxy S7, but I would kind of like to see this return. It is very nifty. This might not be the updated version that puts ads on your lock screen, but there is definitely a version I have, I think, on this S5 where it does, and it's so annoying. What else is there? Can I do split screen multitasking? Oh, there you go. It's telling me how to do it. Yep, thank you. Yep. Yes, I know, stop. Okay, I can't do multitasking with that one. Okay, so we go into messages, we press the multitasking button, we tap that, and boom, look at that, we're multitasking. Oh, look at that, it just rotates, very cool, very nifty. Doesn't seem to want to... I think some apps will let you position it however you want. This one, okay, it is letting me do it this way. If I press the keyboard, yeah, it pretty much just hides that. What about if I type the keyboard here? It moves up. Very smart, very cool. So yeah, you can split screen your apps. I'm not sure about floating window. It's probably somewhere in settings, or maybe it can't do it. Who knows? Maybe it's just not a thing. Oh yeah, how could I forget? The edge panels. I believe a lot of these functions are pretty much the exact same even on modern Samsung smartphones, but here you can just have a little app launcher, which is actually kind of useful, but it's something you can do even on a phone without an edge. It just makes the gesture feel a little bit better. That's probably the one advantage, is that the curve of the screen feels alright for gestures, but honestly the downsides. Let's see, you have your people edge, your task edge, which is kind of cool as well. You can customize it to have custom shortcuts for things. There's a whole store where you can download more edges, and you'll be able to edge on your phone with, okay, let's not go. You have your internet edge, your calendar edge, your device maintenance edge. Let's add that one, that looks cool. You got your finance edge, your news edge, your sports edge, your music edge, of course, over the horizon. Actually, Quick Tools is kind of useful. It's supposed to download and Galaxy apps, blah blah blah. You guys know how it goes. You can just download more edges. It allows you to edge more on your phone. Why do I keep saying that? Let's take a look at our new edges. We have the device maintenance. It's searching. 63 out of 100. Why? 35 hours of battery? Yeah, I doubt it. 23 gigs of storage free. Actually, kind of good. We have 800 megabytes of RAM. Let's fix it. What's it gonna do? What? Now it's 90? What did it do? Now I have a whole gigabyte free. Ah, that's worth another 30 points. Optimize now. How come I can't get the extra 10 back, huh? Where did the 30 come from? But I can't get another 10? Ah, Samsung. Alright, next up we have Quick Tools. This one's actually kind of cool, but also kind of a gimmick. You can have a ruler. You can change between sensible measurements and absolutely nonsense measurements. Let's verify this. Let's see if this is correct with this Holden Genuine Parts ruler, Rip Holden. And you know what? Honest? Really? Yeah, I would say that lines up pretty well. I mean, you'd hope so. It's kind of its only function. If it didn't even line up, then like, what's the point? Alright, what else we got? We have a flashlight. You can make it brighter or make it darker. Oh, look at that lens flare. That looks sick. Woo! You can do an SOS thing. So you can flash an SOS signal. That looks too slow to be an SOS signal, but maybe I'm wrong, who knows. Actually, I might have that on my Galaxy S8. Where is my Galaxy S8? It's right here. So here it is on my Galaxy S8, which also has curved edges. Here we have the Apps Edge, Smart Select, which lets you like make a GIF out of a little segment on the screen. Your Task Edge, which lets you do many cool tasks. Oh, this one's cool. You can do a tally counter. Look, it counts numbers. This is something you can only do with a phone with a curved edge and you can't just use a regular app for. Okay, this one's actually kind of cool, which the S6 doesn't have, but it has a surface level, which is a little bit like the iPhone. Oh, it's in the Measure app, I think. So the iPhone has this thing as well. Oh, but why can't I get it perfectly flat? It's because of the camera bump. You guys remember how small camera bumps were on iPhones? This was the first camera bump, and there was outrage over it. And now look at the iPhone 15. It's huge. If I push on this corner, now it's perfectly flat. It's a very similar looking UI, very cool. And then you have the same ruler as before with an extra centimeter. So it goes to 11. Oh, this is one I actually downloaded back in the day. It's like a calculator edge. All of these phones have file browsers on them. So here we have File Explorer. Here we have My Files. And here we have Files. We're gonna allow. So let's go in order. This iPhone straight up didn't launch with a file browser. That came in iOS 11, I think. And it's still pretty limited, at least on the iPhone. You can have your iCloud drive and browse some files. You can't go into any system directories or break the OS. At least on the Android side of things, you can kind of go into the system directories and break a few things, but yeah. I believe it's also fairly limited on Windows Phone as well. But I mean, I did use it to do a factory reset bypass, so it's good enough to do that, I guess. Let's look at the Windows Phone side of things. So here we have Audible built in. Oh, Candy Crush Saga. We actually have Continuum, which lets you use this thing like a Windows 10 desktop. I showed it in my Lumia 950 video. It's really not that good, to be honest, because you can't even use the apps in Windows. They have to be full screen, so you're pretty much just beaming the same app onto a larger monitor. It's not very good. I'm pretty sure this thing doesn't support DeX. Pretty sure DeX came with the Galaxy S8. I might be wrong, but yeah. This thing for sure didn't launch with DeX though. So that's probably a Galaxy S8 thing. I've used it on here, it's okay. Honestly, it's really nothing special. We got Microsoft Edge, we got the Microsoft Store, which is absolutely completely barren in 2023. There's not much you can get anymore. What's Quiz Up? Let's look at Quiz Up. The biggest trivia game in the world! Oh my god, let's do this. What are you interested in? Connection failed. Connection failed because you don't seem to be connected to the internet. That is a very nifty UI if I've ever seen it. Let's connect this thing to the internet. Why not? I'm pretty sure I did already. Literally connected to the internet right now, so I don't know what's going on. Let's not worry about that. We have the weather channel, but we also have a weather app. So that's a bit of a duplicate. Interestingly enough, we have Shazam on here, pre-installed, even though it's owned by Apple. Was it owned by Apple in 2015? I don't know. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff. Lots of bloatware like Candy Crush. Let's do some video watching. We're gonna start with the Samsung because it's the most simple, because YouTube's just pre-installed, ready to go, which is actually kind of nice. Please work. Oh right, I forgot. Old YouTube clients are broken because YouTube stops them from working. Very cool, very nice. Thanks guys. Let's go to the internet. Let's go browse the World Wide Web. Oh, look at that, it's already right here. Let's go to YouTube. Let's search up Frog for Duck. Let's get a video up here. Let's talk about his cousin, the Galaxy camera. Why is the volume buttons not working? I don't think this thing has a working volume up button. Volume down button works, but at least you can just, there we go. do that.
I know what you guys may be thinking. This just looks like a generic Samsung point-and-shoot camera.
What quality are we playing at? 360p. Right, let's turn this up to 1080. Can this handle it? Can handle 360, but pretty much anything can, really.
Okay, so now you guys may be thinking, oh, this is just some generic Samsung point-and-shoot camera, but this time it just has a touchscreen.
Yeah, it seems to be doing it just fine. I actually think my phone's overheating, so it's not even filming in 60 frames anymore. That's a bit of a Pixel 7 Pro moment. So yeah, this thing can support it. What about the iPhone? I'm pretty sure this iPhone is more powerful than the Galaxy S6. Here we actually are running a pretty up-to-date version of Safari. Let's go youtube.com. Can't tap search because the screen's broken. No, I don't think I'll even be able to search. Okay, I have another idea. Frog for Duck. Now I would install the YouTube app, but unfortunately it requires me to type in numbers. I can't because that doesn't work. On the Apple ID sign-in pages, I can't actually rotate it, which sucks. I mean, I could copy it from this app, but I don't care. Let's go to YouTube and let's watch the PowerBook video because Apple. Damn, I kind of forgot what YouTube is like without ad block. It's not very good. Alright, that took a little bit, especially because of the ads, but we're gonna go into full screen now. Rotate it.
Probably shouldn't be doing that. This is a box.
The speaker is a lot louder on the iPhone compared to the Galaxy S6, but I think this particular speaker might not be in good condition.
So which one's right? So I have no idea what video I'm about.
Let me change the quality, please. Yeah, it keeps defaulting to 360p. It actually won't let me go to 1080. That's interesting. I can only go up to 720p. Weird. Let's see how it goes at 720p. Okay, yeah, it seems to be playing it back just fine, but man, the YouTube web versions kind of suck. But if you had a working screen and you can install the YouTube app, then yeah, it'd probably just work fine. I literally just put my phone in the fridge to stop it from overheating. Pixel 7 Pro moment. So to watch YouTube on the Lumia, there really isn't an app. Yes, I know there were third-party apps back in the day, but they don't exist anymore. So Microsoft Edge, we're gonna be edging on no, I can't keep making that joke. Oh look, it's a little hint on how I did my bypass. There you go. You just had to sideload an app through this interface. It's nifty. And let's go to youtube.com. Your browser's outdated. Yeah, proceed. Actually, one thing I'll very quickly touch on, because I'll need to change the volume in a sec, is the button placements. So on the iPhone, power button on the right, volume on the left, mute switch. On the Samsung, it's pretty much the exact same thing, but the Lumia 950 XL is pretty strange. Look at this, it's got the volume buttons top and bottom, and then power in the middle. Honestly, it does feel alright, but I could imagine some people here just not knowing what buttons to press. And considering how large the power button is compared to the tiny volume buttons around it, yeah, it's a bit... And there's also a camera button. Oh, look at that, it's just a one button kind of thing and you can take a photo. Sweet. If we hold this back button down, we can get back to what we were doing, which was Microsoft Edge. Actually, interestingly enough, the Microsoft Edge UI is actually pretty ahead of its time, because in iOS 15, Apple would actually do a similar thing with the search UI on Safari, which is actually kind of cool, not gonna lie. So yeah, you can kind of see some elements of Windows Phone was ahead of its time, some elements were behind on the times. And speaking of which, you will see another element very shortly on where they were very behind. If I can even open the search bar, what is going on? Oh my god, why are the thumbnails squished like that? No, why is the little guy squished? Look at him. This is derpy as hell. Oh my god. What other video to watch than the Lumia 950 video? As you can see, we can only go up to 30. Alright, let's press play.
In my mailbox. And there was a very particular reason as to why I wanted this one.
Yes.
And that's due to the fact that we're going to be shoving Windows 11 onto this thing. We're rendering these phones kinda useless. This one runs a 64-bit ARM chip compared to most Windows phones.
By the way, same for this phone. Let's skip to the part where I'm absolutely struggling to watch YouTube. Guys, this is crazy. This is me on a Lumia 950 XL, struggling to watch me on a Lumia 950, struggling to watch myself unbox a Lumia 640. This is just some Lumia inception right here. Let's change the quality. Let's go from 360. Okay, let's go to 360. Can you please let me change the quality? There we go, 1080. Oh, wonderful. I actually wonder how well it will work, because on Windows 11 it doesn't work well. How long is this going to take? Like, actually, how long is this gonna take? We tap here and it's taking forever to load. Now we have an ad. Oh, but it plays the ads perfectly fine, but not the actual video.
Literally what this Windows phone shipped in, an iPhone 13 box of all things. Please let me get scammed, because this is actually what I bought. Okay, I can't stop it. 640. Stop.
So what you're hearing now is a YouTube video playing through a Lumia, Lumia speakers are typically already nasty, and this just makes it even worse.
Never heard on a smartphone. In case you want a bit of a reminder what it sounds like, let's give it a little shot. To do that, I've pretty much always been using Android phones my entire life, so...
That's actually really hurting my ears. If this video was out while I'm filming the Windows 11 installation on this, you know I'm going to be continuing this thing onwards. But yeah, this thing, awful for media consumption. The screen's alright, but the speakers just suck. Like, it's a perfectly fine phone, it's just the software on it is... I really can't put it in any other way, it's just not good. And especially nowadays with just the fact that it's quite literally a dead operating system. Oh, my voice is starting to die. So out of all of these phones, how well do they hold up in 2023? The obvious answer is the iPhone holds up the best, simply due to the fact that the operating system it's running is only 2 years old. So this phone is still very much up to date. This thing's probably second best. You can still do quite a bit with old Android versions and you can flash it to run a newer version. And yeah, this thing is just stuck in the past. You can put Windows 11 or Android on there, but yeah, it'll start to get pretty laggy. As for these particular phones and recommendations, the Galaxy S6 is a bit weird, honestly. It's kind of a fancier looking, better built Galaxy S5, but with worse features. And it's also basically a worse Galaxy S7. Because it has less features. The S6 is just strange. Honestly, if I were to suggest a Samsung phone for around the time to get, you'd probably be better off with a Galaxy S5 or an S7. They're just kind of better than this thing in almost every regard. And for the Lumia 950 XL, of course, don't buy it as a daily driver, but this is pretty much the end of the line for the Lumia line of phones. This is the last one. This is the best one. This is as good as it gets. Honestly, out of these three phones, if I had to use one as my daily driver, it'd be probably the iPhone 6S. I'm also going to shout out the larger sizes as well. This is a Galaxy S6 Edge, which is also in nasty condition. This one gets stuck on the charging screen and I can't turn it on, which is why I'm not using it for the video. And then we also have the iPhone 6S Plus. So there we go, we have the Plus phones on the top and the small ones on the bottom. There's actually a very colourful range, especially the S6. I really like the colours on the S6. So yeah, my name is Frockforduk. You can say that however you want, I really don't care. New videos whenever I want. Consider becoming a channel member for some extra videos and to help support me. It goes a long way. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.